We're in the Weinheim Hotel in Cologne in Germany, and the sci-fi lovers among us will probably like this fact because of the name. The main reason why we are here is because we have an interview with German science fiction and fantasy novelist Robert Corvus.
Hello everybody.
Welcome. You wrote science fiction and fantasy, but the first novel, when I'm not mistaken, was a vampire novel, didn't it?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. I like all of the fantastic genres, so vampires are included as well.
And is there a special reason?
Yeah, I know that Ernest Hemingway told us that all serious literature is about love or about death. And the combination of love and death is the archetypical vampire. So I figured I should start my literary career as a writer by writing about vampires.
Okay, no, I can only agree. And was it already on your own name? Did you use your own name? Or?
It's my own name is Bernd Robker, so that is something that's public everywhere on my imprint on my website and so on. So it's not a hidden name, but everybody gets it wrong if he wants to write it and if he wants to order a book. And at that time, when I started writing my first short stories, basically everybody I read was American or English, so I figured I need an English sounding pen name, and that was Bernard Craw, and that was the name that was on the vampire novel.
Okay.
And unfortunately in Germany it seems to be difficult to spell Bernard Craw, so that basically didn't solve the problem. When people went into a bookstore and wanted to order a book, and then the employee there, they didn't find it in their system because they misspelled the name. So when I went to Piper Publishing House, that was my chance to make a second try on it. And since then it's Robert Corvus. Corvus being the Latin name for crows or ravens. Okay. And so I could put this raven motif on my website, on my cards and on my autograph things. So I could put this as a common theme in all of my appearances.
Okay, now I see, now I understand.
Also Robert Corvus has 3 dark vowels, so 2 O and 1 U. And I wanted to write dark fantasy at that time. So that was also calculation in there.
Oh, that's really calculated. Besides your science fiction, and that's something we'll come back to later in the interview, you also did fantasy,
right?
With somebody we very well know in Holland, Bernard.
Right.
How did you end up with him?
The scene of the makers for fantasy and science fiction is quite small in Germany. So basically everybody knows everybody. I went to a lot of conventions already, and Bernard does that as well, so we met at those conventions. It's not that we were in close contact or something, but we knew each other from its side. So I knew this is Bernard, and he know I'm Robert and so on. And both of us, we have a history in the dark eye, which is Das Schwarze Auge in German. I think there's also a Dutch edition of it, I'm not quite sure. But that's basically the Dungeons and Dragons for Germany, so from the market share they have in fantasy role-playing. And they also have novels accompanying that universe, and I wrote some novels in that universe, and Bernard did as well, and he also did some of the background material and so on. And actually that was his first major work, was the Filiasson Saga, which was a campaign for the Dark Eye. And the inventor of the Dark Eye, one of them, he always dreamed about having a large book series set in his universe on the markets in Germany. And so he went to Bernard and he told them, well, I know you writers are all the same, it's the first project that's really in your heart, so the first thing that you did that will never leave you, so you are dreaming about putting this campaign from 30 years ago in the shelves in every bookstore in Germany. And of course he was right. But Bernard, being a best-selling author at that time, we told him, well, I would love to do it, but it would be 12 novels, and I just don't have the capacity to do it. So I have to supply my fans with 11 novels and stuff that we did there. But Werner Fuchs, who was that inventor of, or is that inventor of the Dark Eye, he already had foreseen that. And he said, okay, but I know another guy who's really good looking, and he will be your companion in that. So you can write only part of the story, and the other part will be written by Robert Corvus, and you together you can do that. And then Bernard knew me already, but he wanted to read some of my stuff first to see if that would be a good match. And the result was positive, and so we embarked on that journey. And maybe the most funny thing about that is we knew each other a little bit, but not really in depth. And of course we are both men, and so we have this let's impress each other game in the beginning, right? So we were at a party, at a book party in Frankfurt. Actually the Perry Roden book party in Frankfurt, at the Frankfurt Book Fair, that was run at that time by Perry Roden. And it was clear that we would start the project, but we didn't have an opportunity to talk details up to then. And basically the question was then, how long will it take, right, to write these 12 novels? And then kind of a cheating game started, where nobody wanted to admit that that is really a task to do. So basically we talked each other into, well, more or less it's already pretty good outline because of the campaign stuff, and we are both experienced writers, and it will be no problem at all. So we said, okay, 6 novels a year, 2 years, we are done, right? That's basically what we agreed upon, and there was some alcohol involved in there as well. Right? But in the end, we started writing in 2014. First novels hit the shelves in 2016, and we completed the series in 2023. So it took a little bit longer, but it was a fun ride anyway.
I can imagine. You already mentioned Perry Roden. That's how we noticed you, of course.
Right?
And you're already writing quite some years for them.
Right. I started in 2013, and that also has a backstory. I'm afraid our plan to make a short video out of this just vanished. But the backstory is...
just cut the answer with yes and go on with the next
Right. In 1988, I was a fan of Perry Roden, so I was reading Perry Roden then. And I went to my first convention, and that convention was run in Freudenstadt by Klaus and Frick, who is now basically the showrunner of Perry Roden. So he's the main guy drawing all the shots there, right? And back then, in 1988, he wasn't. So he was kind of a premium fan. So he was running the Club News, which was a section inside of the episodes where you could find out about what was happening in the fandom, basically, in the Perry Roden fandom. And from that I learned about that convention in Freudenstadt, which was run by him. So that was my first convention, and I knew nothing about anything. I was 16 years old. Therefore, because thinking I knew everything about everything, right? And I went to Freudenstadt one day early, and basically spent the night before the convention so that I could start it, doors open, right? So that was my intention. So I was one day early and spent the night at the home of Klaus's parents, right? where he still had a small room where I could work, and would have, which I will never forget, we would have a refrigerator which was filled completely with bottles of beer, nothing else, right? and it was a very old refrigerator, so he would start every 20 minutes during the night and keep me awake, right? Because I slept there. Okay, so still then we are friends, right? we know each other since 1988. And he observed, of course, that I was progressing in my writing career and that I became a professional writer and everything. And I noticed that he was progressing in his Perry Rhodan career, and he became basically the showrunner of Perry Rhodan. And then it was 2013 when I dropped my main job and became writer only, full-time writer. And basically it was clear that I should write for Perry Rhodan. It was clear to me, it was clear to him, and we passed the point where we could ask each other if it would be a good idea. Like on a party where you know somebody but you forgot the name, and it's too embarrassing to ask for the name, right? So nobody does it, and you always talk around the topic. And that was the situation in 2013. And the tiebreak in that was when I asked my literary agent, which by the way is the guy who invented the dark eye. At the time that was my literary agent. And he knew both of us, and I basically sent him to Klaus to ask if I could write for Perry Rhodan. And Klaus of course said, yeah, I wanted to ask the same for some time now. And that was my start into Perry Rhodan Neo at the time, so the Neo series. Yeah.
And already a few years in the main series.
Right, yeah. So that I had to, it was a bit challenging to schedule this together with the Finarson saga, which we talked about earlier, because that was also a major project. So for several years I could only do one episode here, one episode there, whenever it fits in. But since about two years now, I'm a member of the core team, of the core writer team of Perry Rhodan. Yeah.
And besides it, you write your own books.
Right, I do.
And that's the main reason, because we have one book over here,
Right.
Sterrenbrug. And that's maybe the reason for the interview, because it will be an hour.
That's perfect. I'm very happy about that. Yeah.
So we're working hard on the translation. Can you tell us something about the book?
Yeah, that's a standalone novel, so nobody has to commit himself to 12 novels or something like that. So that's a standalone story, very nice story that I pondered about for several years, you can say, before I was able to sell it to the Pipa Publishing House, and they really wanted it as well. And it's a very personal story, you could say. It's about the doctor who does his duty on spaceships, but he suffered a great loss. So he lost his wife 2 years before the story starts, and basically that results in him losing all his connections socially wise and his compass in life and everything. And what he really wants is he wants basically to forget about his loss and to be with his wife again, because he can't suffer that, right? And there is a possibility in virtual reality in there, so you can create some dream world or wish world, I'm not sure how you will translate that, and Wunschwelt in German, so that you live in a world that is designed for you. And if you can put in a lot of money, then these wish worlds become so real that they can also manipulate your memory. So he basically wants a wish world where his wife is with him, still alive, and he forgot about the loss that he suffered, but he doesn't have the money for it. And his wife, the reason she died is that she was traveling on a star bridge, which is the title of the book, obviously. And these star bridges, they connect star systems so that you can travel there within a week or one. But this star bridge, it broke and the ship got lost. His wife died. But the company running these star bridges, they want to re-establish it because it makes great profit. As it doesn't exist anymore, the Pontifessa, the bridge-building ship, has to travel at sublight speed to the destination. That will take 150 years with a crew in hibernation. But that is the chance for Yule, the main protagonist, because he can then collect the money for the trip, and he can put it on the bank account and get interest. And when he gets woken up at the destination, he will be a rich man. So he can do his work there, and then he can get his wish work. Of course, the price for him is that he will lose his daughter, who won't live another 150 years. Everybody he knows will be dead. The whole world that he knew will be gone in 150 years, except for his small dog, Pilgrim, who will accompany him on this travel. He will also be in hibernation and who will travel with you to the stars.
And that's the book starts off.
Yeah, that's where the book starts off, and of course there are complications and everything. Yeah.
If you want to know how that ends, we aim on August.
Right.
When I'm not mistaken, you'll be in Holland.
Right, in Rotterdam, right.
So, when everything is going as we would like it to go, the book will be finished by then. And Robert will also be there. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
And see you in Rotterdam.
I'm looking forward to it. And I hope you will enjoy this book. I hope it will meet the Dutch taste.